When you're ready. Cool. Welcome to another episode of the Manchester SEO podcast. Today got Tommy Taylor in the house, former professional rugby player for Sale Sharks and England, and is now retired, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot about that.
Yep.
So thanks for coming in.
No, thanks for having me. I'm a Mac lad anyway, so it's nice to come back to have an excuse to come back to back. So it's always pleasant.
Fantastic. So newly retired, when did that happen?
Officially it happened in June.
Yeah.
You could say I've been retired since last October, really. So I got injured last October, and my whole last year of my career, I played half a game of rugby. So not ideal and ideal in different ways, but officially June, when we got knocked out of the semi-final.
Right. And is it injury that stopped you?
Yeah. So I've had a few back issues the past few years, and then had a back operation, then came back and played a season, all fine. And then the level below, got another slip disc in it, and this time it was a little bit more serious. A lot of pain for a couple of days, but then lost a lot of strength in my left leg.
Right, okay.
So a bit of my hamstring, but mainly my calf. So my calf just switched off. So the damage in my back that had pressed the nerve had affected that. So that was October time, and kind of at that point, I didn't think it was going to finish my career, but I was like, this has got to be pretty serious, because I was like hobbling around everywhere.
It's not ideal.
Not ideal, no. Especially when you try to play rugby for a living.
Yeah.
So
ideal for in a normal job.
As a life, to be honest. What I've found since, it's not ideal anyway. But that progressed, and tried every treatment, operation, nerve testing, everything. And everyone I went to was like, it's time. Nerves take time.
Right.
You can help them a little bit, but you can't really accelerate it like you could maybe with a muscle or a tendon or a bone. A nerve is, you have to let it settle and just give it a good environment. So that was last October. Got by Christmas, I kind of knew this was probably going to finish me off as rugby goes.
Right.
Not going to get back to a point where I can consistently train and play.
Yeah.
So knew I was going to retire in June. So that, again, it's not a good situation, and I'm still not in a good situation physically, but from a career point of view, I'd already played 15 years, and I was only going to play 1-2 more years at max. So this kind of gave me a bit of a buffer to, while I was still contracted, to venture out and try and figure out what I'm going to do after rugby. So helpful in a way, not helpful in a
So what? Obviously, I might go into that, the mental side of that in a bit. But what is retirement for you now? Obviously, you got to do something, haven't you?
Yeah, retirement's a funny word, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I was on a course the other day, so it's not retirement, it's rewiring, which I liked. So I've been associated with working with a company called Lead Edge Performance for about 6-7 years. When I used to live in Leamington when I was at Wasps.
Okay.
Doing a bit of high performance guest work with them. So they're a coaching company, a business coaching, high performance coaching company.
Sure.
So I was in and out of them a little bit and built a bit of a relationship there. So when it was about February, start of this year, I had a lot of time on my hands. I was rehabbing until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, sat in meetings at Sale, and then boys would go outside, and I'd be twiddling my thumbs a little bit with this pretty daunting aspect of retirement creeping up in 2, 3, 4 months. So I went to them and said, can I just embed myself in your business for 4 months while I'm still getting paid and contracted at Sale? And actually turned out that there was a role for me there a couple of days a week, which I jumped on then, and that's kind of developed into a bit of a bigger role now that I've left my rugby playing career anyway. So that's what it looks like. Part of it. That's one of the hats I wear at the moment. Doing some rugby coaching as well at Sedgley Park, and then also 1 day a week I'm in at Sale, so back in at Sale doing player development role. So bit of a link between the players and the coaches. Communication link a bit, and helping lads off the pitch. So career stuff, post rugby, or if it's boys settling, we've signed a couple of Sarkin boys this year, like them settling in the area, stuff like that interests me. So a couple of different things going on.
important role.
Yes, yeah. And that's how it came about. I had a chat with Al Sanderson at DOR last year when we were discussing that I'm not going to stay on because I'm retiring.
Yeah.
And I just kind of highlighted this, thought there's a little bit of a good role for an ex-player to fit in a gap that was maybe not being filled, or wasn't not being filled really. I think Sale's the best club I've been at in that sense for the past 4 years since I've come back. It was maybe something that we could get better at. And the next player is, I feel like, the perfect person to do it because you've got the relationship with the players already and the coaches.
You know the club and
the club, the area. You kind of go through that career transition yourself. So kind of pitched that idea to him and wrote a job description and they bought it. So we manufactured it together, and Al's really open about stuff like this, and he pushes a lot of the mental skills side of it, which again I'm helping run too. So it's really important.
Does that relate well with the high performance stuff? So what does that role entail? In a couple of days a week?
So 4 days a week of that. So that's the rest of my week.
Right.
Where so I'm in the development side, the business development side of it. So I said I've done a bit of work in the room, which I'd like to carry on in some parts, but kind of coming out of sport and got a lot of energy, and I like meeting people, and that kind of like tends itself to that business development role.
Does,
so I've gone into that, which I'm loving, to be honest. I'm really enjoying. So they do kind of fit together a little bit, because what we do at Lead Edge Performance is work with businesses and sports teams to make environments better and develop leaders, and that's kind of what I'm helping do at Sale as well. So it's quite similar in that sense, and there's always a bit of translation from business to sport as well, isn't there? In that sense, they're all environments, they're all leaders, they're all human, and
cultures involved, and things get broken.
So it's all very similar. So I think they do both help each other. And the rugby coaching as well. It's the same.
So you still love rugby?
Yeah.
Because I've spoken to some ex-sportsmen that played for a long time, and some ex-cricketers where they haven't picked up a bat since. They don't want to set up on another cricket pitch ever again.
Yeah. When you say love rugby, I think past 15 years it's gone up and down. I've hated it, I've loved it, I've hated it. Like, I think coming out of it, you do realise how lucky you were playing it, and as a sport, how I think as a tool, I've got kids now, and I think as a tool, like seeing how rugby helped me develop as a person, and team sport and the leadership side of things and the confidence. I think that's where my love for it is. I don't know if my love for it is in the professional game and the on the pitch stuff, and do I love watching rugby now? I don't think I do. I think big games I'll watch, and if my friends are playing, I'll watch it. But I wouldn't plan a weekend on sitting in and watching every game. But I do love what rugby does and how it helps people and influences people, like their lives. I think that's part.
Because you grew up in a rugby family.
Yeah, I didn't have a choice. I gotta love it. My dad played at Sale and at Macclesfield, and my uncle was at Orrell and 100 other clubs. But both amazing players. So I had those to look up to, and they were both playing at Macclesfield when we were kids as well. So we used to spend Saturdays there watching them, playing on the pitch afterwards as well. They were getting drunk upstairs. And then on Sunday mornings, turning up and doing mini and juniors ourselves. So me and my brother were there. And it kind of, that was a lot of our early years for sure.
Around that kind of environment. So how do you go from obviously playing after the game, the older guys are having a few drinks after the match, to actually being professional? Were you always thinking about being professional?
I always wanted to, I think everyone does. Like, I was always a good rugby player at school, a captain. I was quite small, so I'd had like North trials at 16s, 18s. That's kind of the normal route of getting to represent your country, and then you get picked up by a club. So I didn't get in North 16s or 18s. So I knew I loved rugby. I was good at it. Something that gave me confidence. And, so I really enjoyed that side of it. But I never thought I'd play professional rugby. Probably until I was maybe 18 when I signed my contract when I left school. I wanted to. I was trying to for sure. But it wasn't a natural route of a lot of players will be in the system quite early when they're 13, 14, like football, I guess. Probably a little bit later than football, but like 13, 14, you go through and you get managed through. So, I always wanted to, but when it kind of really came about as I left school,
Right.
Yeah.
And so were you kind of, with obviously physicality in rugby is a huge thing, isn't it? And if you have an advantage if you're, you've got a big rig, so,
No, 100%.
and you're tall and strong and physical. It's so clear that you get picked up earlier if you're bigger.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And I think also the game's changed. I was talking to someone the other day a lot. Professional sport rugby's 15 years on from when I started in professionalism, so it's worlds apart from when I started. The day-to-day of it, the size of the players. So when I first played Sale, I think I must have been 95 kilos.
Right.
Which is small. It's now it's extremely small for hooker. Back then, quite small, but got away with it. Whereas there's no way I could get away with that now. Hookers in my position coming through at that age, 18, 19, you've got to be 15, 20 kilos heavier to get a game at that age.
It's about my weight now, that.
And mine now.
It's not muscle.
I'm not saying I'm 95 kilos now. I've had to adapt. Now I've got to adapt to the world outside rugby. But someone like you and Ashman, who came through Sale, he's a Sandbach lad. He's moved up to Scotland now. He's just played for the Lions. He was 110 when he came in, when I saw him when he was 18, 19, and physically
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Extremely mature, and I think you have to be like that if you're going to start early these days, because the game's changed. It's all about who wins the collisions, and that's part of why my love for rugby kind of went, because that wasn't really my game. So
I remember watching Sale and Sheridan and Cheval were in the front row, and I was thinking that is not fun to be against. Because
Shez was absolutely. It's funny because I remember, again, really young, being in the environment with him and seeing him and being like, he's big, and seeing him in the gym and lifting these obscene amount of weights. And then I saw him in the Trafford Centre with his wife and kids, and I was like, who is that giant? And then it was him, and you see someone out of context a little bit. It blew him up. He looks huge.
It's amazing because you don't really realise when you watch on TV the size of people. And I was down at a fundraiser at the Oval Cricket Ground, and there was a few current professional cricketers there, and they were a bit like rugby players. Well, I assume rugby players are built like. And I was like, this is unreal. The training they must do to be like that, and then if you're an actual rugby player now, because they don't have to absorb, like you say, the collisions or the,
some of the bowlers are huge, aren't they? Yeah, they're big.
But so I don't know where I'm going with this now, but I'd read, obviously there's been a few headlines in rugby in recent years around concussions and things like that. If it's a collision-based game, what's the consensus around the game these days?
I do think the older boys, like my age, probably 28, 30, you've been playing 10 years, 15 years. There's a bit of anxiety about it for sure. I think from when I started to where it is now, the game takes it a lot more seriously. A lot more seriously, maybe not the right way to say it. There's a lot more protocols in place that hold people to account. That means that you have to step out, and also the knowledge of lads and of the awareness of the effects of it also. So you'll get players now where someone might get sparked in training where they're a little bit knocked out, and boys are pulling them off themselves and being like, mate, what are you doing? Why are you still on the pitch? Get off.
Right, okay. Yeah.
That is completely different to 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when a lot of the headlines now are coming out, the players probably around that World Cup era when we won it 2000, 2003, when the game went professional in 95, 96. And professional training then, or rugby training then, was probably just, they didn't have the knowledge that we have now, whereas we don't do contact in a week at all.
No.
So back then would have been like, how do we train rugby? Every day it's professional. Not 7 lights out of each other. And which is probably what they did. And I imagine that's having an impact towards what we're seeing now in some individuals, which is obviously extremely sad.
Sure.
It's tough. And there's definitely some anxiety about it, because I've had a 15-year career where I've had concussions. But they've been managed really well. I had 2 months out when I had 2 in a row. 2 bad ones in a row, and I had 2 months out where I was still in training, but you kind of get really managed up, and it takes time.
Okay.
That was a tough place to be, because that was a very similar time to when all the headlines were coming out. So putting 2 and 2 together, and you're like, what am I doing here? You questioned kind of all of it.
You get worried about things that
you start second guessing yourself. And I imagine that for a lot of lads, we joke about it. You forget something and then you joke about it, but it's definitely in players' minds. It definitely is.
Sure.
But I do think rugby is a step ahead of football, cricket, all the sports that have concussion protocols now. But as rugby needs to, it's a collision sport, isn't it? As you said, and that is also the other side of it is you can't fully neutralise rugby. It's a collision sport. That's why people like it. It's why people watch it. So you have to embrace that. So there's definitely been a turn the past year or so to embrace that a little bit more. We had a couple of years where you wouldn't see anything on social media about a big hit. You wouldn't celebrate it because of the headlines, because the RFU have a lawsuit against them, or World Rugby have. Someone does. I don't want to get sued. Someone does.
There might be someone somewhere that
someone has a lawsuit against them. I don't know who it is. So then you try and put things in place so you're being proactive. So I coach a level 3 now with Sedgley Park, coached a couple of years level 5 with Maxfield and Rosendale. They've lowered the tackle height to below the sternum, so around here, so you can't tackle above there to protect the head. Which is good. It's taken a lot of head clinches out of the game, but again, it's taken a lot of players out of the game, because rugby is a game for all shapes and sizes, especially at those levels, that you've got props who are 6'5" and massive and strong, and they do a great job in the scrum, but they can't get down to tackle somebody who's down here. So a lot of people lose their love for the game from that. So it's a balancing act, really.
Things you don't really can think about.
No,
outside, Cool. So we'll move on in a bit, but I'm interested in that thing of you wanted to be a professional rugby player, and then you get that chance, that debut for the team you want to play for, and how did that come about?
I remember. So I left school. I didn't have a contract. Had a job working in a restaurant in Presby, I think, actually, and I was going to Sale every day to try and get a contract. I managed to get it at the end of that year. I've
playing with them, was that?
No, so this was, you're in the squad, but I wasn't. I wasn't every day. Can I come in, please? It was a bit like that. No, I was part of the academy at that stage, like senior academy. Different to how it is now. Like we trained on our own for a lot of it. In the same building, first team outside, and every now and again someone would get plucked because they needed numbers in the first team. But I got a contract at the end of that year, and to this day that's the best part of my rugby career ever. I remember it so clearly. I've been on the phone driving away from Carrington down Carrington Road, get to the roundabout, and them saying like, we're going to offer you a 3-year deal, and it was epic. Because at that point, like, it obviously is brilliant playing your first game, your debut for a club or playing for your country. It's fantastic, but in that is so much anxiety, like performance anxiety, so it's quite hard to enjoy the moment, whereas that moment was just like brilliant. It was amazing. I remember it so well. So that's how it started, and then So the season, that was the end of one season. The season after that, I got my debut, I think 7 games in. I'd been on the bench 6 games, didn't get on. And then got on against Quins. And I was, again, nervous as anything. And I played hooker, so you throw in at a line out.
Yeah,
like an individual skill. There's a lot of pressure on it, and it's a strength of mine in my career. It's one of the things I was best at.
Right.
Well, that stage as a young player, I had no confidence in it. So all I wanted was not to throw a line out.
Yeah.
And at 20 minutes, I didn't. So there was no line out in 20 minutes, which is amazing. So that's all I remember from it, and it was an amazing game. It's like 47-45. I think we lost, but yeah, it was a nice moment for sure. But those, as I said, those debuts are like wrapped in anxiety.
Yeah.
Because you kind of got there, you know you're going to play.
Yeah.
But you have to play well to get another chance.
Stay there,
Yeah.
Is it quite cutthroat, within the club? There's obviously people that want your position all the time.
Yeah, of course it is. It's definitely it is. I think you have, especially in the environments now, I think back then sales squad wasn't as strong as it is now. So I've come back I went to Wasps for 5 years, came back to sale into probably a better squad, more internationals, more competition in my position. So when you kind of establish yourself in a squad and your first choice, you've got a lot more leeway. Of course you do. If you have a bad game, you've got a bit of money in the bank to say, well, this is what I've done, and they'll back you again. Whereas if there's an alternative there who is very similar to you or better at something you've just not performed at, the competition's really cutthroat.
Yeah.
In those top 4 or 5 teams, which Sale is now, Sale's one of them. So it's cutthroat in a way, definitely. But the good thing about rugby is that you're contracted, so you sign for 3 years, you're in the environment for 3 years. So form goes up and down. So find it so many times. I always say rugby changes so fast. Like you could have missed 5-6 games, not getting picked. Someone gets injured, you then play, you have a great game, and then you're the hot topic, and everyone loves you, and everyone's speaking to you, and which is part of the issue. But at the same time, it can change like that. So either way, it's ruthless. Yeah.
What was your toughest game in your
career? Leinster away. So in Dublin, in Ireland. When I was at Wasps, we played Leinster away.
That was
it was playing Ireland, so 23 in a matchday squad, 22 at current Irish internationals, and the one who wasn't was James Lowe, who was he's the Lion. He started on the wings for Lion the weekend, so he was probably the best in the team. Yeah, so this was like 6 years ago. So that was the hardest I think I made. There was a stat I came off after 50 minutes, and there was a stat that came up on TV, and it's like I'd made something like 35 tackles in 50 minutes. And it was more than the whole of the Leinster pack, so the other 8 players in their team put together. Not really, it's not skilled in my way. No. It was just people ran at me and they had the ball, so they didn't have to tackle anyone. So that was the hardest game, 100% physically.
Yeah.
And just seeing that, it's like an international game at club level, like experiencing it was... Yeah, it was fast.
Yeah. And did you... If you were to pick a front row to play with, when either you played with them or against.
Oh, it's tough.
There's so many to pick from there.
Yeah, it's tough because I've got friends that I'd want to pick as well. I think if there's 3 against that I played against together, I was about 20 years old, played against Toulon at home. It was me, Ross Harrison, and Henry Thomas playing for Sale. So we were 19, 20 and 20 years old, like fresh out of school, really young, against Andy Sheridan, who was at Toulon at the time, Bruno, who used to be at Sale, but he was French hooker, and Carl Heyman, who was the Kiwi hooker, the All Blacks hooker. All 15 years international experience against us. That was probably when I looked up and I was like, oh God.
There's probably a size difference there.
Size difference. Size difference enough that we had a bit of an exchange at a scrum. Got up and back his both through as a South African second row. Looked over and he was like, he said something like, "What are you saying, little boy?" You know when you're like on the pitch? No, you're on the pitch, you're like, oh yeah, no, he's probably right.
Yeah. That is not what you want to hear. Okay. I put you on the spot with that one.
That's right.
But, obviously through that you come across a lot of, sports psychologists and high performance things. Is there anything now when you look back that you wish, a bit of advice that you could give yourself starting?
Yeah, I think I've thought about this a lot because you reflect at the end of your career and got a role at Sale now where, as I said, I'm kind of helping players in that position as well. So I think I thought about it. And I don't know if it's something that I'd do. It's just hoped I'd felt a certain way. So I remember clearly when I got first pulled into England, men's England camp in, I think I was 21 or 22. It was the week of last game of Six Nations, playing France away to win the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
I hadn't been involved in any England stuff before, and I remember stood there. I was travelling reserve, so if one of the hookers went down injured in the warm-up, I'd be playing, I'd be on the bench. I got to the game, I didn't know a line-up call. I didn't know any set play, anything. So if that did happen in probably the biggest game, England's game in 10 years, I didn't have a clue what was going on. And that was, a lot of that was just how unconfident I was in that environment. And that kind of went on for 3 or 4 years while I was in that environment, and I was third choice. And I was playing well for my club, but couldn't really push through or make really an impact when I was in camp. And I think, it's a regret in a way, but I don't know if I'd feel any different. It's more like, could I have accessed people or spoken to someone who may have put me in a better mindset going into an international camp where I felt out of my depth. But I'd earned myself to get there. Like, looking back now, I'm like, it's weird that you felt like that. Like, I remember being on a Sunday waiting. They'd call you back into camp on a Sunday, and I'd be like waiting, be like, I don't want to go in. Which now I'm like, what was wrong with it? Like, it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I didn't want to go into a camp where I could have represented my country. So it's like, it's an odd one looking back, and I've battled just figuring out what I could have done better. But I think it maybe helped better in coaching environment or something. I'm not too sure. That's what. Yeah, I'm still not got to the bottom of that. I'll come back to you when I do.
Did you have like a mentor or anything?
Yeah, I think coaches along the way kind of play that role, definitely, and players. So like senior players when you're young play that role. I think like all my dear was really like Steve Diamond at the start when I was at Sale.
Is that director of rugby?
Director of rugby, yeah, sorry. Yeah. And now I'm in the business world and I'm trying to learn the language and the lingo. Like I say, DIY and rugby. When
not dropped on request.
No, yeah. Like all my DIYs have been good and useful in different ways, and have helped me like in a mentor way in different ways for sure. But yeah, I think maybe like where the game is now, there's probably a lot more support on that side of things when you're a young player.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to create at Sale a little bit, which is
good. And so like if you've ever had, it's good. I suppose your experience in the last few years and the mental side of that, and being in the role you're at the moment with Sale.
It's good. It's good, and it's good to have that already relationships with the players. So you've got that trust already, which helps you kind of speak to them and influence them in a way that you might think appropriate. I think, and going through the injury side, I've had quite a lot of injuries in my career. Like, had 2 knee reconstructions, 2 my ACLs, both playing for England. So you kind of get to the point and then you're back down again, you get to the point back down again. And it's more just when a young player's in that position, it's like just more the mindset of how you frame it. Like you're going to need a time of almost mourning a little bit to have a week of getting your head around what's happened and where you're at. And then it's like reframing it to be like, well, what can I do now in the next 6 to 9 months? The one's going to help my rugby career. It's going to help my post-rugby career because especially when you're injured, it's pretty apparent it's going to come pretty soon.
Yeah.
So helping lads that reframe it, I think, is the main thing, and that's and keep on top of it as well. You do that for a month and then stray away from it, and then 2 years down the line, you've not revisited anything or not not staying in contact with your network, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I suppose that, especially in a team sport, you can miss that the dressing room more than playing. I suppose that interaction with people every day.
And that's the support, isn't it? I think. The dressing room is fantastic, and especially after games and before games, like the contrast of that is, I used to love that. And like the day to day, it's funny because for me, three of my best mates actually have finished at the same time as me at Sale. So Will Addison, Josh Beaumont, Ross Harrison, we all retired. We'll start at the same time, we'll retire the same year. So the kind of FOMO aspect of it it's still there a bit, but it's kind of gone because they're not in the change room. So that's helped a bit. But and that's what I found moving into my new career is you do a lot of works on your own because I work remotely from home a lot of the time, and you're on Teams calls and working on your laptop, and you're at home on your own, just extremely different to what I've done in the past. But that's again the way of the world a lot of times at the moment, and it's a necessity. And we get our team together at Leading Edge Performance a lot, which is good. And you have little things in place that kind of bring that belonging and that togetherness together, even though you may be at different parts of the country, which is important. So there's definitely the will to try and make that better. But
And so Leading Edge Performance, what are the main things that they do?
So they specialise in. So we work in business and in sport. So if we break it down, really, it's probably three areas of like transformational change in businesses, or leadership development and team development. So we go out and speak to businesses who are going through big change. Say it's an acquisition of a big company.
Sure.
And how do you merge the cultures, or how do you develop a culture into something that's going to last and thrive in an ever-changing world? That kind of thing. And we work in some great companies like Mars, for example, who are obviously a huge global company. We work with them. B&Q, Hilton Foods. There's loads of big companies that we work for and work with their senior leadership team. So it's really interesting for me coming from a rugby environment, then seeing it in the business world, and how it's almost like a natural team environment in rugby to, again, a team environment in business, which maybe is not as natural, and that don't necessarily come together as well, because as I said, some people don't work in the same office as each other, so really interesting to see how those dynamics and how we support those companies and those teams in it. And I think it's definitely a crossover, because we use a lot of insight from high performance as well. So that's sport, military, and also high performance in business as well. So we use a lot of insight from there. So that's the work that I've been doing for the past 6-7 years with that company. So going to days with a senior leadership team and not standing on stage and saying, this is what I've done in my rugby career, and this is leadership, and this is teams. It's more like,
you should do this.
Yeah, exactly. Which doesn't relate, does it? No. It might fill an hour of something presentation, but it doesn't actually relate and feed back to their day-to-day working. And it's more like, how do you integrate those insights into these events and these workshops or interventions? And it's more like sitting down, going for dinner with the team. So we've done it before, where we've had like a leadership team, and so there's 10 or 12, and they'll go to a pub for dinner, and at that pub there's 3 people, like an ex-Olympian, an ex-military person, or someone else, completely varied. And you sit down and you have dinner with them, and that's when, like, those fireside chats, they get called, don't they? It's like, that's where you get probably the more intimate stuff, and the more discussions where it's
the reality.
Yeah, exactly. That, and if it's one small insight that someone can take back to their team, that's worth it. That's what it's for, isn't it?
I had a conversation a few weeks ago with and he said, we don't need SEO, but I'm interested in having a chat. And I'm like, that makes no sense whatsoever. This is either a complete waste of your time, or both our time, or the reality is, you do want a bit more visibility online.
Yeah,
so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't just start with, oh, we don't need you, but actually, I'm interested in what you're going to say.
It's funny because I'm my title is a new partnership lead, so I'm driving a lot of the business development side of the business. So, I have a lot of initial discussions with people. About their situation, their context, and their business, and it's in definition a sales role, really. But from our company and in our businesses, it's a relationship based selling. So you would ever really sit down with somebody and be able to sell a change program for how much it is straight away. It's not how we like to do it. It's more you build relationships, and if you're useful to somebody. So if it's only a half an hour chat talking about the culture of their team or the culture of their business, and you can give a little bit of an insight or a little bit of a solution that they can take away, when they're maybe looking for support down the line, they can you're kind of front and center, and it's building those relationships. So that's the thing I love about it. It's not a hard sell. It's more how can we be useful in the moment, and it comes to nothing. It comes to nothing. It's how it is.
I found it fascinating, in terms of performance and improving a team or a business's performance and how that relates to the team and who they are. A big realization for me in my world, I'm more of cricket than rugby, and you talk to a few ex-professionals and you realize actually it's a job for them, and quite often they don't like the people they play with. Well, they wouldn't necessarily be friends with them outside the game, but this is a job. And then it's that realization, okay, well, what skill set do they have that's important to us? What culture do we need for the good behaviours to win? And it goes into, and I'm fascinated by the whole thing. And and it's the same with work, isn't it? In terms of you can see if people don't get on. And it's highlighting that, but them not just being blinded by that. And understanding the benefits to everyone and what we're trying to achieve together.
And teams, not everyone's going to get on in a team. That would be ideal. That's kind of the utopia, isn't it?
That's an added bonus.
Added bonus. It's brilliant because people come from different backgrounds, have different opinions.
Sure.
But I feel like a lot of things come from either a lack of understanding or just a lack of initial relationship, or a lack of knowledge of somebody. So why they do things, what's their motivation for coming to work. Say we were working together and we didn't get on because I see you doing things or you react a certain way. And I make an opinion on you. I don't know why you reacted that way. I don't know what I've done or you've had going on at home, or loads of things that are hidden from a lot of interactions in teams. And the beauty about rugby and team sport is that you spend so much time together in high pressure environments that people are vulnerable and people share stuff that you then learn about where someone's from, how they've grown up, their preferences, all that thing that builds you up and gives you that relationship with somebody to then be able to interact with them in a team and work within a team. So it's a really fascinating thing about what we do is we've got a part of the business which is ex-military, which do a lot of call it human intelligence gather. So it's that understanding of a team. So it'll be one-on-one interviews with a team that are done by these human intelligence specialists who are ex-military. Their job before what they do now is to interview terrorists and get influence and negotiate with them and build rapport with somebody who is extremely hostile and doesn't want to tell you anything. So the way they do that is to not approach the terrorist or whoever it is. It's to approach the human, and it's the same in everything. It's not, if you're in a team, it's not approaching the finance director, it's approaching the human. So how do you interact with someone in that way? And it's understanding that. And when you do, you can understand the reason they do things and the common themes of stuff. And then you can work better as a team because there's more knowledge and more understanding, which is vital, really.
I spoke to a guy called Pete Ackley who's the director of the ECB and or non-exec director, I should say, and he's really big on culture in sport, and he'd worked with Gareth Southgate at the FA as well, who's huge on that, especially with young professionals.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Yeah.
And how you build that culture. And he says then from that you get the good behaviours.
Yeah.
And then you get good results because you've got good behaviours. So the results look after themselves if you've got that.
Yeah.
And then it's understanding what makes that happen.
Yeah.
And I've seen it a little bit with what, from what I read, because you're not on the inside, but like Ineos are trying to do it United in terms of culture and that kind of change, or that will be successful or not is another thing. And I can probably see that in rugby, because in the mid-90s when they turned professional, there was a huge shift in the game. Yeah. And the people weren't an accountant or a lawyer or a policeman during the week. They were, they were professionals. And, and I don't know where I'm going with that, but I could talk for hours about it.
The culture shift in rugby. The culture shift incredibly. So you've got, again, I keep going back to when I came through the academy when I was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It was, I'd never speak in a meeting if I was an 18, 19, 20-year-old. I wouldn't have the confidence to challenge a senior player, really. It wasn't encouraged that much. You kind of get told what to do, put your head here, do this, hit this, and you do it.
Yeah.
You do it often, you do it well, you work hard, you get rewarded. Now it's a really inclusive, psychologically safe environment, or we tried to be, or rugby tries to be, where you have lads coming out of the game, 18, 19-year-olds straight from school, giving opinions in meetings about standards of the place, expectations, stuff like that, which is brilliant, because that means that they feel like they can do that and they are confident to do that. And that's the culture of it. It's the culture of, I think, a lot of rugby clubs now. And I think it needs to be that, because the rugby player coming through now is very different to the rugby player coming through 15 years ago. And I don't know if that's a kind of mirroring on society as well, is that
hugely probably.
Yeah, well, it probably is. And they're way more in charge of their careers in a way. They're way more, I need to do this. It's not a selfish thing. It's not an entitled thing, which us old boys sometimes throw at them. It's more of a bit more of an individual athlete kind of. I need to, on my day off, I need to recover. I've got a hyperbaric chamber at home, at the sauna, all that, which on my day off, I'd go for a coffee and maybe take the dog for a walk. It's different. So the culture has to be different for those different characters. And I think that's the main difference in rugby, and managing that in such a collision sport. And allowing lads to be vulnerable or lads to be open off the pitch, and then on the pitch to be able to do something that is violent. It's again, I think it's a mirror of society, isn't it?
Well, I was interested because obviously I played a bit of rugby at school, but never anything any good. But I'm interested because the roles within the team within rugby are so different. Yeah. What was the training week for a hooker? And how did that differ from others?
I think separate forwards and backs differ enormously. So obviously your team stuff, you're all together, but you'll split 2-3 times a week for unit sessions, they're called, for forwards and backs. So as a forward, you're live scrumming, live mauling, knocking everything out of each other. You're looking over the backs, you're kicking to each other across the pitch, playing kick tennis. It's a massive difference there, massive difference. But at the same time, so I would say they have to almost every week run at high speed in their unit sessions, and I don't think I ran at high speed for the last 8 years of my career. Just not physically possible. So there's difference. Like one's maybe harder than the other in two different ways. But it's very different.
Do you have like in the team bus? Do you have bigger chairs for the forwards?
No, you don't. Unfortunately,
You should do, shouldn't they? Because
you should.
I'm sure that Sheridan would need a bigger.
Yeah, I'm sure he definitely did.
Someone else.
Yeah. So no, there's not. There's actually no. There's no favouritism in any of that anymore. Unfortunately, no.
Rubbish.
Just the captain that gets his own room. That's about it.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
You go to France, and often in France, you stay at a hotel with 2 tiny little matchstick beds.
Yeah.
And a scrum half who is tiny will sleep in a bed, and then a prop or a second row who's probably twice the size will be sleeping in the exact same size bed. So
it's a bit off piece that one, but it always makes me laugh really because the physicality of it is so different, isn't it? And the challenges, and it's like that in a team. You know, I was more client facing with the stuff I did, but I had a bit of a technical knowledge. But you have guys that are more coding and not used to. Yeah. They're used to communicating within the team and that kind of environment, and then you put them in front of a client, and then they're like, they freeze a little bit because it's different. It's out of the comfort zone, and there's
and that's definitely something I've had to figure out or find out, especially in the new team that I'm in.
Yeah.
Is to where do I rely on other people, which is probably a lot at the moment because I'm new. So I've got strengths that help me out in some ways, and then there's some things that I'm still developing. I will be for a while. So I think is that as in any team, it's, as I said, understanding where someone's coming from, everything about them, and understanding their strengths and where they can help you and where you can help them. So it's almost like contracting of that is important because, as you said, somebody who's creative and can design something like a slide or a one-pager.
Yeah.
I cannot do any of that. Like, I'm just literally navigating PowerPoint and Excel at the moment, simply like that. But so there's people who do that and help with that and are brilliant at that. And maybe I can help them in some sort of way as well. So that's team dynamics, isn't it? Relying on each other, propping each other up.
Do you think though, the personality wise, in terms of being there's an element of and being an extrovert if you're a professional sports and in front of people and performing. Do you think that's helping you now?
Yeah,
transition a bit
I think so.
Roles?
I never used to have that. I was shy. When I go into like an environment I didn't know, I'd be so uncomfortable. I'd be quiet. And rugby's obviously pulled that out of me a little bit, a lot I'd say. And I think is that you get exposed to it without. You decide to do it, but like you'll get a play appearance when you've got to stand on stage. I remember Wasps, Ricoh Arena had 32,000 people, and in the corporate bit there'd be a room of 1,000 people having dinner, and you'd be on a stage in the middle of the room with Andy Good doing the MCing, and it was tricky interview anyway. But you do that, and you kind of your name would be on a sheet on a Thursday. You'd be like, I'm doing that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I remember speaking to my wife about this, Lucy, and she's like, that is my worst nightmare. Stand up in front of any people. You kind of, because you get exposed to it, you do it, it's not comfortable, and then you just get used to it. And it's something that I've always looked at people who can present and do it. And I've been like, that is amazing. I'd love to do that. And like force myself to do it the past few years, where I've done a few talks at like Chamber of Commerce or like conferences. On some things rugby, like some things leadership, kind of like a merge of the two, and force myself to do it. And it's the same as playing a game. I used to play a game, and before I'd be like, what am I doing? I don't want to do this. Can't wait for this to be over. The same, like before you go up and stand up in front of people, like, why have I signed myself up to this? I don't need this. Like, what am I doing? And then you do it, and you get a bit of a buzz. It's a bit similar to a game, and you get used to it, and by the time you do a few, it becomes a lot more comfortable. But rugby definitely sets you up a little bit more. For that, actually.
So, what do you think what are the main things you think that rugby taught you about leadership and resilience? Resilience comes up a lot in my chats with people in business and sport. You have to keep your emotions and everything.
Yeah.
Kind of, you either got to keep them calm or raise them if you.
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
in control of them a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think resilience, I think, is really interesting, because resilience is, I always, in my head, like if I labelled someone resilient, it's somebody who would just go and go and go and run through a brick wall and keep going and stay up late and do this and do that. But then kind of like resilience is like, how much can you do? How well can you recover so that you're at this level more often so you can perform?
Yeah.
Because you can be resilient and get through things and just get through them and not excel in them, which you see in rugby. Is like someone plays 30, 40 games in a row, like your performance drops off. Sometimes the odd play obviously keeps going, but your performance drops off because you're fatigued, you've not had rest, but you're resilient. It's a good thing, but like, resilience is also how well can you recover? So how well can you peak when you need, as you said, and then when you need to rest, you take yourself off on a day off, and you build your battery back up, so then you can be resilient. We talk about that a lot, about like battery, and like when you come to training, what you've done away from training kind of sets you up to be resilient at work.
Because you've got to have a full battery to take the collisions, haven't you?
Yeah.
I've heard it with boxers where they realise it's time to retire.
Yeah.
When they can't take the punches
anymore. Yeah.
Because they haven't got the drive or the
Well, it's the same in business. It's if your tank's not full when you wake up in the morning, which is never going to be full. But if you're not, after you finish work, shutting down a bit, having a relax. We talk a lot about the parasympathetic nervous system, so like breath work. We've got a breath coach at Sale who's brilliant, but that's like down regulating. Can you down regulate after you finish a day of work, which is also, it's not the physical aspect, but there's a huge amount of stress in a lot of work. So can you recover in that period when you're at home to then turn up to work the next day, your battery fuller than it was, so then you can react to something if it comes in that's taking you off guard. And like,
it's one thing Pete Ackley said, where because he consults with businesses, and he said, it's like a badge of honour to have meetings all day, be stressed and not sleep much and work hard, and so if you're in sport, it's about, okay, well, you've finished, what do we do, what behaviours do I need to perform well the next day? And that's kind of lost in the business world a little bit.
It is, and like at Leading Edge Performance, when we design a session or a 2-day, 3-day session for a leadership team or something, a huge part of that is environmental design, which is how do we get people to be able to peak at the right time and then have downtime and peak at the right time. And it's the same as a working week. It's how do you, if you've got a meeting on a Wednesday that you need to peak at, you can manage your week. Rugby week, you train hard at the start of the week, it tails off so you're fresh at the end. So it's so important to have that planned in and that environmental design in, because as you said, if it's a badge of honour, fine, but you're not working at your best, even if you're going through meetings, back-to-back meetings, working overtime, not sleeping, staying up, all that stuff. Which I've got 2 kids and life is. Trust me, I'm not saying 8 hours sleep is a norm for me at all, but it's what can you control that allows you to be resilient, allows you to perform.
And it's teamwork at home as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I know a guy who works long hours, and he said, the wife's part of the team as well, because she knows that I need a bit of downtime, but that might be the time where she needs a bit of a rest as well. So he comes in the door and the baby's put on his arms, and he's like, okay, right, let's take business hat off, dad hat on, and do a bit more. And there's that side's quite, it must have been the same for you as a professional sportsman as well, and that highly.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think now, I'm working a lot now in 3 different roles in a way. So I have to be intentional, which I'm not all the time. Intentional at the core recovery, but taking over from Lucy when she needs it, because I'm in and out the door. We're like ships of the night, like on a Tuesday, Thursday. She'll come back from work, give me the car keys, we'll be gone. Kid, like it's like that. So it's like, if you're aware of that and you know, and you're intentional with it, you can then, it can help. And I'm aware, like, sometimes you have to work a lot, like especially if you're running your own business, sometimes you have to work endless hours. And same in rugby, like if you're injured, sometimes you have to constantly work on that injury and constantly recover from that injury, and it takes over every thought. It's just having the awareness, isn't it, of sometimes having to step back and breathe.
I like that word, being intentional about it.
Yeah.
It's a good way of framing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's often the last thing that you might want to do as well.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
So, a few quick questions before we finish, because I could talk for hours now.
Yeah,
but I know you've got some places to be. But did you have any pre-match rituals and superstitions? What's the craziest one you've ever seen? You know?
I've seen the craziest I've seen. It's different because a lot of time you're in your own world. So you don't necessarily notice other people's. Like if I say mine or what mine used to be, a lot of people wouldn't have even noticed.
Right.
So pretty much, one of the lads I remember, I won't name him. I'm sure he still does it. International. He watches a game, an under 18s or 20s game. That I don't get this wrong, but he didn't play in.
Right.
Or he did play in, and it was a good game. One of them, but an old game from 6-7 years ago, and he'll watch that on the way to the ground on the bus every single time without fail. I used to have a pretty good routine. A strict routine. I used to listen to the same song, walking off the bus, going into the ground. I would then get in, put my bag down, put my socks on, put my boots on, go outside, go to the far side of the pitch. The 5 metre line, pretend to throw, or like visualize the throw in, go and sit on the bench, read the programme, go back in, done. It's how easy that came. I did that so often. For like 10 years of my career, got to the point where I was like, what am I doing? And also, I came back to Sale, and we'd sometimes do a pitch walk before the game, which would be in that period where I'd normally do that to completely interrupt it, which is probably a good thing. But that was mine. Little things like that I felt like I could control in a time when I was going into something that was out of my control and out of my knowledge. So it's funny that, isn't it? There's a place for it if it calms someone down, and like it did me, and maybe puts you in that zone. It's like, oh, this is what I'm doing now. If I do this routine, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to play after this. That almost that prep work. But you can't rely on it, because if it goes wrong and then you go, oh, I can't play now, or like it's going to go wrong now because I didn't go to the far side of the pitch.
That's it's how a lot of things like there's a few sportsmen that have developed like eating disorders because they can control something they can control, which might not be very good for them.
No.
In a world where there's so many variables and so many things that could happen, you can understand how that develops.
It gives us sort of comfort, doesn't it? Yeah, definitely. You're always in a game, on the pitch, in training. You're trying to gain as much control as you can. Like even like in selection, you're trying to play as well as you can so that it's still in your control. Do you know what I mean? Like so many things, like that's what you're chasing for, isn't it? Really. It's just a small part of that.
In the cricket team I play in, the captain's a bowler, and he bowled well 2 weeks ago, and he hadn't had a shave. So he turned up the week after with more stubble. I'm like, what? He's struggling a bit. What's going on? He said, no, I bowled well last week. I didn't shave, so I've not shaved since, and I won't until...
when he starts bowling badly, you need to have a shave, mate.
Exactly. And he says, I've also got the same pants on and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Pants and socks. Yeah, it's
what sticks with you until... I always found that interesting. And so moving forward, what do you think, what does the future hold for you?
Oh, good question. I think staying in the high performance world, that's what I'm really interested in. I think towards the end of my rugby career, that was the thing that really grabbed my attention. Outside of rugby and also in the environment I was in, I was observing how leaders behaved, how they influence people, and all that. Like, I found that really interesting, and I still do, like why people do things. So I think carrying on down that path and developing my understanding of it in the business world and developing my understanding of the business world. I think that is definitely, I think, what the future holds, because I think that's where my future is. Lead-edge performance and in that world of helping people feel confident in an environment so they can be their best. And that's what drives that part of me. Like, when I felt confident, when the environment's made me feel confident, or a person has, I felt like I was at my best. So I think that's what drives my, passion for it, is how can you help somebody reach their potential. I think that is about being confident in themselves and in where they work and in their performance. So that's in business and in sport as well.
Yeah, fascinating. I better let you go. But it's been lovely to chat to you.
Yeah,
enjoyed it. And so it's leading edge performance.
Yes.
And so we'll put the website on contact details on the description if anyone wants to reach out. And good luck.
Thank you. Yeah,
it's big time.
Might need it. It is. Yeah. It's a big time. Yeah, thanks for having me. I love talking about this stuff. Not necessarily myself, but I love talking about all this stuff. So you're doing a great job. So thanks.